So reimbursement dossiers came into being about a decade ago when technology manufacturers realized that they needed to develop a reimbursement application that was a generic reimbursement application that could be used globally, and that what they could do is share that information with their regional affiliates and individual country affiliates around the world to satisfy the requirements of local payers. And so because medical technology manufacturers didn't have reimbursement staff in each individual country, then the reimbursement dossier format grew to meet that need of translation of the clinical and economic evidence from the global level to local use to establish reimbursement. Over time, people have moved away from the term reimbursement dossier and have begun using what they refer to as a global value dossier format, in recognition that a single document can often be used to summarize the key information and clinical data that's needed to satisfy regulatory approval, reimbursement, and also key marketing messages about the value of the technology. And so many technology manufacturers use this global value dossier format to provide the clinical and the economic value messages that can be used for regulatory approval, reimbursement, and marketing, and to ensure that everyone has the same information and the same core messages about the value of the technology or the therapy. I'd have to say that it's very inconsistent as to when manufacturers choose to develop a global value dossier for new products. It's typically reserved for more breakthrough therapies, and that it's really a practical question of whether in day-to-day business it turns out to be efficient to have such a single document, or whether you want to do it on a case-by-case basis. What I've found is that the commercial organization usually wants what I refer to as a mini dossier or a tender support document that is a short 3 to 5 page document. A reimbursement dossier is often a 100 to 150 page document that the commercial organization or even local reimbursement staff find to be very unwieldy and unuseful. And so it's very important to really get clearly in mind what format you want, how long does it need to be, and if you're going to develop a reimbursement dossier, know that you're going to use it to fulfill reimbursement requirements in a particular region or set of regions, so that, for example, if your initial use of the document is to get reimbursement in Germany, France, Italy, and the UK, that you know what those requirements are, and that you're not developing a document that doesn't fulfill those key questions that the payer needs to answer.